Hello and welcome back to episode 8 of our exercise planning toolkit. Again, I'm Spencer Pollock. I'm looking forward to talking with you today about some of the presentations. Very similar to our last episode where we talked about some of the planning meeting presentations. This is where we kind of dive into the day of type stuff, and we'll talk about that. So as a reminder, right, all of our data entry comes off of the data entry tab, which you can get at using the hamburger button, these left and right arrows, or go back to the beginning and select what you need to do, right, the data entry tab. So for now, we'll talk about our facilitator guide, and the facilitator guide and TTX brief presentation are probably the two most used in this section. As you look here, we'll scroll down through our facilitator guide. You can see it pulls in, just like we talked with everything else, the stuff you entered throughout the beginning of your planning process. More importantly, though, when you get down here just a little bit, this document starts to talk about some of how you should facilitate, some best practices. Again, if you're not the facilitator, if you're utilizing somebody else, it kind of gives you some pointers of what you're doing. Schedule to kind of stick to, but then more importantly down here, as things are easy to kind of get off and away with exercises or any kind of big group facilitation, these came from our data entry tab. It gives you some stuff here, right, to kind of push you along, and also gives you some stuff to keep you honest, right? So if it's 8:25 and you're not on slide 5, you're running a little bit behind. You can see here in our data entry tab, what we looked at back in episode 2 or 3, those notes that you can put in there. If there's something unique or special that you want the facilitator to mention, or a memory jogger, you can put it in there and it'll pop out over here. The presentations themselves, similar to what we looked at in the last episode, you can see these are all sort of PowerPoint style. They've got that presentation feel to them. When you look at them here in the Google Sheets version, they come out a little bit wonky. But like we did last time, right, we'll Control P or File Print, and that'll bring us up, and we'll end up saving these things as a PDF. Again, you can kind of do your sanity check real quick, scroll through them, make sure that the pagination is working right, and like we talked in other episodes, if you need, click this little set custom page breaks, and you can slide the blue line up or down if you need, if we've got some kind of an error going on there. Once you've got it to PDF, again here, it's running a little bit slow, but once you've got it there, we hit next, go through, make it a PDF. For the point of this, though, we made a PDF of a presentation last time, and so let's just pull that back up. You can do the same thing we did in the last episode with any of these others, and so let's just open this guy up. Again, very similar to last time, we can go to View, and then we go to full screen mode, and then the similar PowerPoint controls work. So left and right arrows, the mouse click or the mouse scroll if you have a scrolly wheel, or the little remote control left, right buttons, any of that works. So bringing this back here real quick, we'll close that out, close this out. You can see we've got things in here for, again, the observer brief. You might need to brief folks ahead of time, county commissioners, elected officials, other stakeholders that won't be playing, but this gives them a sense of what they're looking at. The players themselves have a briefing in here. We have a warm start brief. This is one where you might put in some contextual photos, kind of simulating up to where you're at. So let's say you're starting on a simulated day 2 or day 3 of an exercise. If you're testing a kind of later stage thing or recovery, you can pull in some of the details into something like this, add in some contextual photos, present this as the beginning of the conversation, and again, kind of start everybody from the same spot, so to speak. Most of these presentations come right out of the 8-sheet toolkit. A few we've added, like this warm start brief, but there's others in here. The actor brief, again, tailored information that you might give directly to folks who are helping support you, not participants, but folks, maybe from a high school or local college drama club or whatever else the case may be. If you've got a bigger, kind of more hairy, complex exercise, you've got a couple things in here for control or evaluator briefings and then debriefings. Especially if you brought in out-of-towners to help support you, these may help give some context and guidance to the conversation. As a reminder, these little comment boxes, right, the 4 and the 6, generally these are reminders that you need to go in and put in photos. It may be a map, it may be a contextual photo, it may be something else, but as you're scrolling through before you print the PDF and go final, you'd want to take a look, especially if it's got little comment boxes, and make sure that you're kind of set up for success. We've got a senior leaders brief here. So again, this may be delivered to folks, that are of that higher level, give some 30,000 foot level stuff of what we're talking about. And then finally, when you're getting around to it towards the end, an after action meeting or conference presentation that brings together some of the details you've been working on and presents it in a nice, tidy manner. Lessons learned, improvement plan documents, things of that nature. So with that, that'll conclude our presentations here. We'll look forward to having you join us next time for some of our toolkit work that we'll be showing you. Again, thanks for coming out.